find it unfair that talented people struggle to get views on social media despite putting countless hours into the content? Well, I friggin' did. So having done a cheeky 20 million views myself in the last 4 months, I set out to create a content recipe that anyone could use that would just generate millions of views. And this is how I helped a group of small businesses and creators explode their social medias, each with a single video. So what is this system? Well, in order to make it work for you, I'm going to have to show you the biggest problem that creators have in order for you to take advantage of it. So this represents all the great videos that you need to make, and this ball represents the platform. And all you've really got to do is get loads of these into here, and it's just going to generate consistent and predictable views. It's going to build trust and a lot of following that you can monetize. But most creators are doing this. They're trying to find the videos blindfolded, and then when they do find them, they're just taking wild shots anywhere. And when you're doing that, it just means you're relying on a lucky shot, and it's going to take ages to get the views, become unsustainable, and you're just going to end up a poor content creator rather than a profitable business. And even if you did make a lucky shot, the chances of doing it again are just unlikely. So you solve it like this: you get rid of the blindfold, you move the ball and the videos right next to each other so you know what you're aiming for and what you're aiming with, and you just drop a load of them in there. But how do you do that when you're short of time and you can't seem to find the winning shot in the first place? Well, that's where this system comes in. So let me show you how I discovered it, and then I'll show you the plan that I came up with so I could explode any channel in as little as a single video. So before I solved this, I was a musician and I'd worked my whole life to build a career in that, and then I got lucky and a huge A&R discovered me. On YouTube, ironically. And then next thing, before I knew it, a subsidiary of a major label was just paying for me to do some really cool stuff. And then all of a sudden, it just came to an end without warning, and I was left feeling really lost and devastated, to be honest. So after that, I fell into teaching carpentry, which is a trade I'd done from school, but I still had a bigger desire to really create music and video. So after about 500 failed videos, I made a channel called Going Halves, where I tried to cut stuff perfectly in half. And in a few months it had done 10 million views, which you'd think I'd be absolutely ecstatic about, but the problem was the music industry had left me with this imposter syndrome and feeling like because I'd achieved something once didn't mean it wouldn't just all be snatched away from me one day. So I had to prove that I could just do it again and again, no matter how many times people tried to take it away. I could just keep rebuilding it and keep going again. So along with my friend Jack, despite his reluctance I might add, I built a second channel called Unpatched that did 500,000 views in the first 2 weeks, and I was like, right, I've cracked this now. But then once I could repeat it, I just had one thing on my mind: could this simple system just work for others too? But the problem is I couldn't afford to work with the whole world one-to-one because I just wouldn't have the time. I've got a frigging baby on the way for a start off. So I have to come up with this really simple recipe that they can follow, which means they can achieve results even with basic filming and editing experience, limited marketing experience, keep them accountable, stop them getting overwhelmed. And more than that, it has to get them out of this current cycle as well of just making the same rubbish video again and again and thinking they're making something different. Okay, so I think the system's ready, but now I just need to find some creators to test it with. And there's one person in particular that I really want to help, and he's probably the most adamant person that I've ever met in terms of a creator not wanting to move away from a particular content format that just isn't working for him. And his name's Dr. Mo. He's a chiropractor, and for a few months now he's been messaging me trying to find a way to get views on his channel. And I've been desperately trying to get him to move away from the client videos he's been making. Not because they're not great videos, but just because they're not working for him. And he's so talented and likeable, it's just a shame that no one's seen him. Anyway, I figure even if this just works for him, then it's been worth the grueling 2 months that have gone into it. And the other thing is I've kind of already promised him a result. But there was a catch, because I didn't want to just let anyone try this. I wanted to make sure that they were in it for the right reasons, because the internet is already just a dangerous place and full of idiots. And I didn't want to give more people a platform to just spread hate and lies. So I came up with the following criteria. There needed to be a business, brand or creator looking to make money online. They needed to be willing to admit that the product didn't have to be the content. And ideally, they also needed to be willing to compromise on what they wanted to make so that the content was packaged for the platform. And it was a bit of a bonus if they also weren't an absolute dick. So with that in mind, I sent out an email to my email list and just set up some free calls and asked if anyone wanted my help. And to make sure they met the criteria, I just made them fill out a quick questionnaire too, just to ensure that they were serious about it and they were up for the challenge of doing it. So let me walk you through the system that I needed them to follow to get them the views fast. So I gave them 2 options. They could either come up with their own content recipe based on a set of guidelines that I would lay out for them, or ideally, they would use one of the recipes that I'd already made and had success with, because it just gave us a better chance of the content performing, and it just guaranteed better results. And it also made things a lot quicker. And the system looked like this. I needed them to undergo a serious mindset change in the way that they approach their ideas, so that they could plan, film and edit videos far quicker and the results would be far greater. I needed them to quickly learn how to package the content for the platform so that it felt native to the audience and they used the right descriptions, hashtags and all that other boring stuff. And then finally, I needed them to understand the data when it came rolling in so they could make informed decisions about what they needed to change and when they needed to change it, if they needed to change anything at all. And usually, if we'd got the first two things right, by that stage, it should just be keep going. So the way that I did this, I just gave them a series of videos, I gave them some fill in the blank forms, I gave them some on-screen guides that they could follow to just make it really simple. It's just a step-by-step content system in a box and just when things should be done by to hold people accountable. I've just been chatting to the guys in the community and they're all really excited, but they're also really nervous about the first video going out. But I've just been honest with them the whole way through, and there is no better substitute really for testing and feedback than just posting. And I'll admit, I get it, because I still feel really sick when I post, especially when I'm working with others. But the difference is now, when you get a flop, you don't take it as personally because you've poured less energy into the content creation. And it's just been more transactional, and it's easy to feel less attached. Plus, you kind of tip the balance and get more wins than fails, and that always helps. So at the time of filming this, of the 5 creators that I've put through it, 3 have now posted. The first one, he 10x'd his views with the first video. He was doing on average 600 views a video. He did over 7,000. Rebecca, the second one, she's just hit 40,000 views. That took us 6 videos. But what about Dr. Mo, one of the most likeable creators in the world? Well, the first video we did together has now got over 60,000 views. I was absolutely chuffed with him. He couldn't believe it. You know, it's been a great win. So you need to ask yourself what's stopping you from getting views, and you're probably just actually one video away. If you want to dive into the exact system and what we did, click the link below and I'll friggin' show you. If not, watch this and it'll show you how to edit a 1,000,000 view video.